With the first pick overall, the New Jersey Devils are proud to select from the U.S. program, Jack Hughes.
Let's go, baby!
Lays it across, Vatanen drives, score! Sammy Vatanen let it rip. It's a power play goal, and the Devils have opened it up. Oh, my. Nico walking in, shooting, score! Nico Hischier on the rush, ends it in overtime, and the Devils win it.
Hey,
Good evening, everybody. How we doing?
well, we are doing good. We're betting on time, a good time, hopefully tonight. Just gonna patch in our boy, Chris Wassel of Dobber Prospects.
Oh, that's it.
So
Oh, baby.
hopefully
Here we go.
this connection gets to him.
Hopefully this connection gets better.
And so I think I'll go up on the third
Yeah,
floor.
your connection is a little sloppy.
The router's up there.
Yeah, your connection's sloppy. Come on. You better than that. Like, what's up with that, man? You better than that. Like, what's that move?
I know my Wi-Fi's good.
Yeah, but come on.
I know my wireless is good, but hopefully, yeah. I'm just trying to make sure. Yeah, I sent the link to
All right,
Chris.
I'll let him know.
Yeah,
So we get him on here. Chris Wassel, NHL
Yeah,
Full Press. Get it all, talk it all. We'll do it all. Full Press NHL.
we discuss the important topics going on.
Yeah, we'll talk about
especially
what's going on in NHL. This is not, and I preface this to anybody listening. You want my opinion on what's going on in the world? You're not getting it. So this is sports.
This is sports
So
/ hockey.
This is a hockey podcast. This is what we talk about. Understand, there's things going on right now, but there are other places for that. This is the time where we can have some fun, talk some hockey, a lot of news to get to, a lot of fun stuff. So we'll just wait for him to come on. Here he is. There he is.
Oh, and here is the man of the hour, Chris Wassel of Dobber Prospects.
I'm
How
doing
are
pretty
you
good,
doing
guys. I have to say, I do seriously, or will at least at some point have a top 10 reasons for being quarantined list at some point on the site in the summer. Because we have to have something to do. I mean, there's no hockey for another, say, conservatively 7-8 weeks.
Yeah, July. We're looking at end of July, right? Something like that.
End of July sounds good.
Yeah, usually June is basically the end of the Stanley Cup, and it's the beginning of the June draft. What would have been the June draft. Chris, we always know how to keep ourselves busy, even in quarantine. How have you been keeping yourself occupied in the quarantine, and how are you thinking of other current events and topics that most people usually wouldn't think about during this type of period?
One of the oddest things that I noticed right around mid-March, and I had this just ominous feeling that we were headed down this road. I got smart. So naturally, as most people know, aside from being a Devils fan and a sports writer and such, I eat a slight amount of food.
I think we all do.
I think I'm guilty of that too.
So, needless to say, there are some people that share my ability to eat food, and in ridiculous amounts. This gets really good. Last year, I decided it wasn't enough to try a spicy jalapeno station diner. No, this was not enough. So for Thanksgiving, my next door neighbor kind of egged me on with this a little bit, and I went for it. They have 2 5-pound turkey legs, and 2
Ooh.
turkey wings that I would say probably are in the range of 1.5 to 2.5 pounds. Obviously, bones take away some of the weight, etc. So you're not truly eating like 15 pounds of meat, but it feels like you're eating at least half a turkey. The manager of the place is like, "You're really going for this, aren't you?" And I'm like, "I'm hungry. I'm starving. You do not understand." It's like I am about $1.40 soaking. At the time I'm about $1.40 soaking wet, maybe. He's like, "All right, we'll record this for the heck of it." And he's like, "You want anything?" I was like, "I want your new hot sauce." I was like, "Jalapeno just isn't enough." So he pulls out this like mango habanero that's more habanero aged, not just habanero, aged. So it's a little hotter than the average. But the mango, it does something to the turkey that I can't I don't know. With dark meat, it just does something. And
it just melts in your mouth easier, I believe.
And before I knew it, within a half hour, those 2 turkey legs and those 2 wings were gone, along with the cranberry stuffing.
Oh my God!
Wait! The cranberry stuffing, the corn, the mixed vegetables, the rye bread. And not to mention the mashed potatoes.
Wow!
With gravy.
Yo, this guy was crushing some food.
Now,
big time.
Now,
this sounds like a party I would join.
Now, of course, people, even my people around the tables are just looking at me like, the heck? Obviously, they're not saying heck at that point. The guy behind me looks like a carbon copy of Santa Claus and just looks at me and goes, "So what do you want for Christmas this year?" And I'm like, to be honest, I was like, "I'll take a 15 by 10 pan of lasagna and a turkey." And he's like, "Wait a minute, you eat Italian too?" And I'm like, "Oh yeah, yeah." So he's like,
Jersey
"I have
style,
a little secret." He's like, "I do know Casey Webb personally," and I'm like, "Really?" I was like, "I'll go on man versus food anytime, any day. You give me the challenge, I'll take it on." So this summer there may be a possibility that I may appear in a future distant episode, whenever this crazy quarantine is actually over, because I legitimately ate a half of a 28-pound frickin' turkey, and then proceeded to dust off all the trimmings.
You did.
And
I think a juice cleanse is coming.
Insult, I then had 3 slices of cheesecake and a slice of apple
pie. What? Yo, this guy's crushing food right now.
You're crushing better than Homer Simpson crushes beers.
No, it is true. People sit there and ask. It's like, well, what's the most food you've ever eaten and lived? And it's like, probably last Thanksgiving.
I probably would have.
To be honest, I mean, yeah. Have I finished off a 15 by 10 casserole dish of lasagna by myself? Yes.
Yo, where does it go?
All right.
I probably would have pounded at least 2 small poutines in New York City, easily. Speaking of really good food and hockey, what are you most hungry about now that you got
finally
nuggets,
got something, right?
Right, I know exactly. We got something.
Yeah, it looks like we got a little bit of something to work around the plate with the main dish, which should be this upcoming schedule. But we also got the playoff format. So let's work on this 24 team thing that the new format.
Although I don't necessarily like the fact that it's 24 teams, there's this little part of me that was hoping for 20.
It'll be 20 next season. Don't worry.
I think so, and it'll harken back to the days of the late 70s where my dad used to sit there and like, "Remember the play-in series, son?" And I'm like, yeah. The 3 games. That's the 3 play-in. I asked Kenny Danico about that once, and he's like, "Yeah, screw that 3-game play-in." That didn't end well that year. It was, I think,
No.
the only time the Scouts were actually anywhere near halfway decent in their existence out in Colorado. Was that one year, and they got just freight trained in ways that cannot be imagined. But all joking aside, I'm intrigued to see some of the series just for the plot lines that are already emerging, like Toronto and Columbus. Apparently, Cam Atkinson fired the first shot 8 weeks before the series even starts, or is supposed to start. I mean,
Yeah.
it's and for it would.
And then Arizona was like voting
Arizona
no.
allegedly voted no. Then we found out it was another team. Then we thought Pittsburgh had voted no, but it wasn't Pittsburgh. I mean, it's the NHL. You have your own series of little bits of intrigue without having much in the way of intrigue, because there's really not much to it. It's like, oh, that's it, really? You voted you voted no just because you didn't like the team we're going to play against? Carolina.
Carolina's got to play the Rangers.
Yeah, they don't want to play the Rangers. They really don't.
I mean, I would be afraid to play the Rangers too, considering you lost 4 times to them in the regular season. I mean, you could throw it out the window because it's like a new season anyway. But I mean, I'd be scared to play that team. They're getting healthier. Granted, we're all Devils fans here. But
right.
Taking the glasses off for a minute, and you look at the team, and you just see Panarin right there. You're just like, all right, well, they have a chance to win.
They have a chance to win, but do you think that they would stand a chance versus Carolina's defense and Carolina's goaltending?
The unknown is Carolina's goaltending. We have no clue. We have no clue how they're going to perform. And to be fair, we don't know what Shesterkin's going to do in the playoffs either. Because who the heck knows? Things go poorly to start for the Rangers. Do they go back to Lundqvist? Or does Lundqvist start game 1? I mean, there's somewhat of an idea that Lundqvist is not going to start the first game of the playoffs. That's the belief.
First of all, as somebody who follow, and I don't know if you guys follow the tournament, the NCAA men's basketball tournament. The playoffs start in the first round. This is the play-in round. I know. I'm just trying to be. I like to butt in and say things like that, but
sure.
But it is the play-in round. It's not really the playoffs.
I know.
Because no one really knows what these stats are going to be like either. Like, are they just going to go away like after this round?
Yeah, that's another good question. We were trying to ask this for the sake, and this is for the sake of, say, fantasy hockey playoff pools out there. What do we do? Because nothing's been set up yet. I've talked to a few people from office pools. I've even talked to some people from DraftKings and FanDuel, etc. And even Monkey, as they start to expand a little further, but can't really say officially yet. And they're all saying the same basic thing. We don't know. We have no clue, Chris. Why do you keep asking? Because I have people literally every day on Twitter and social media that are asking me the very same question. I just want something to go. It's like the old rock ballad. I want something to believe in. I mean, come on, give me a little nugget or morsel to at least chew on. And it doesn't work that way. So basically, as it stands now, as we all know, that best of 5 first round format, reseeding after at least the first round, probably going to be reseeding. I would love to see reseeding after every round, personally. I really do. I hope they actually do go through with this.
I do like that. Not to exactly just butt in for nothing, but like I know like in 2012 and so on and so forth, the Devils were the 6th seed and the Kings were the 8th seed. I would rather see, like, if you have a 1 or a 2 or whatever, you have that team that's close to one another that plays that next best team. I like seeing that. I want to see an upset of a team versus team ranking or how good this team could be or how good this team may be potentially in the playoffs. Like, we all look at the Rangers right now as they could look really good in the regular season or okay enough to just get to a 2014 playoff format. But do you think their goaltending will hold up versus a team that is usually a really good wild card in Carolina or
It
any
can
other
hold
team
up.
out there?
It's capable of holding up. Any rookie goaltender can catch fire. Yes, Brian Boucher, only because I wound up watching this at 1 o'clock in the morning, this morning. The classic, or as I like to call it, the game that nearly killed me. No, literally, I nearly got killed by a bunch of Flyers fans exiting the arena. It is never a good idea to down about 15 to 18 beers, watch one of your favorite players score a series-clinching goal, and yell at the top of your lungs with many expletives included, your team sucks, choked, and can suck my yup. Exactly.
Yup.
And,
Yup.
Oh,
and
wow.
my friends are looking at me like, oh, he's gone. He's so
He's
gone.
dead. He's so dead.
And mind you, we're sitting in a section of the old arena old Philly arena where literally it's a sea of orange. And people turn in unison, and I'm like,
Uh-oh.
oh. Now,
He's dead.
He's a goner.
Kicker. They waited for the final 2 minutes and 32 seconds to run off the clock, by the way. We did not. We went down to about where the arena exit was, where they had TVs, and watched the end. And then we hauled ass. It didn't matter. We still had about 20 to 30 people chasing us. Got into the SEPTA station just in time as the door closed, and was about 5 feet from getting stabbed by some blunt object. I don't know if it was a knife or not. And made our way across into New Jersey, into Trenton, and got away.
Wow. So you basically took Philly's like version of NJ Transit, and you got it into NJ Transit train back home.
Yeah, got lucky.
That's just crazy.
I mean, I was watching that game on television. Like, I remember getting the crap I was getting in school because like everybody was like, "Yo, you Devils, they're gonna lose this and that," because everybody knew how big a Devil fan I was. And I'm like, the series isn't over yet. Like, because I had just had to sit through games 3 and 4 at the old building, and I'm like, series isn't over yet. Like, it's gonna happen. And then they come out and they kill him in game 5. And then obviously you had Larry Robinson's speech and all this stuff. And I said, all right, it's 3-2. They're like, they're still going to lose. Lindros is coming back. And like me at the time, I'm like, yeah, but he hasn't played in a while. The Devils are playing better. They're home ice. You'll see what's going to happen. Devils play well. Claude Lemieux, McGillney. All right, going back. And then all of a sudden I hear, I'm like, it's game 7. What happened to the Devils losing? Oh, well, it's still game 7. They can lose tonight. It's like, yeah, I don't think so. I'm like, now I could feel my oats again. I was like, yeah, no, they're winning tonight. They're going to win. And, of course, Elias, gets the winner, and the rest is history. But, yeah, no, talking about a rookie goalie catching fire. I mean, Brian Boucher, like, no one really knew who this guy was. And then he, has the Flyers in the conference final, and it was just like, all right, I guess. Again, he gets hot, and the Devils couldn't find the back of the net after dominating 5.5 periods of the first 2 games, and like went into a shell.
Yeah, it's just kind of weird how New Jersey completely dominated Game 6. It was a thorough demolition. Game 5 was not, though. People often forget that. Scoring chances were pretty even. The game was pretty even for the most part until late in the second period. As actually, of all people, a freaking Jay Pandolfo hit. I mean,
yes.
people. Look,
Pando,
I
man.
used to get on Pandolfo and his ability to have hands of stone, and it's true. He did. I mean, we loved Jay, but come on, he did have the most unique uniquely bad timing when it came to just screwing up breakaways. Just one of those things. But he hits John LeClair in the middle of the ice, and people just look. I looked at somebody and it was just like, oh, that could be a game changer a little bit, because even LeClair was just like, what? It's like, and yeah, and from that point of Game 5 on, it was just a completely different series. Obviously, Devils won Game 5. They went on to win Game 6, although it was a little dicier at first than people tend to remember.
Yeah, I mean, I remember. I just remember watching that. I remember watching it because my buddy, obviously I was about to say my buddy was going to text me, but there was no texting back then. My buddy called me at the back end when I got home, and he's like, "Hey, did you ever see a replay of what happened at the end of the second period?" I'm like, I could barely, I had it on the screen, but it was hard to see angles. But he's like, "Yo, just watch the replay." I'm like, damn, that was really close to getting the Flyers a 1-0 lead at the end of that second period.
People often forget that there were a lot of moments in that series where it's just like, wow, this could have went either way. I mean, you imagine if the Flyers had actually won that year, we'd never hear the end of it, ever.
Right.
Jesus, they would say it all throughout, anything with Comcast.
Nightmare alone.
But they would have lost to the Stars.
Right.
Yeah, but you'd still hear it.
But you'd still hear it.
But I don't know if we would hear it as much as if they had won. That's the one thing I hear about. When I would go to flip to 2012, it's like, yeah, but you didn't complete the job like we did in '94. I said, yeah, but if you remember in Game 7, Trevor Linden has an open net and hits the outside of the net.
Yeah.
So
yeah, that was one of those games where literally that was one of those series where, to be honest, the Rangers got bailed out by the Canucks. How often does Pavel Bure miss on a penalty shot?
He doesn't.
Especially that period of time, that 2-3 year window with how dominant he was. There were a lot of things in that series that Ranger fans forget. I mean, even Mike Richter said it's like he had never seen an offense other than, say, the '96 World Cup of hockey that was this talented. So, I tend to take Richter at his word there. He's a very honest fellow when it comes to assessing teams and how they are.
Yeah, Canucks were dominant. I mean, they weren't dominant, but they had a good offense. I mean, Bure, Linden was on. I think McGillney was on. No, he was still in Buffalo, right? Yeah, he was still in Buffalo. Yeah, but
he was a defector
just
too.
Up and down. I mean, I think Courtnall was on that team. I mean, McLean in net. I mean, what Bure did against the Flames, that triple overtime hat trick goal was a perfect example of a breakaway, and he just buries it. But yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, it's so crazy how the game has changed, from then until and now. It's just so different, but it's just good to be talking hockey and good to get back to talking hockey because I think we all need it.
We do.
Right.
We need a little puck in our life, a little bit of pucks and brimstone.
And it's great that everybody's going to get back on the ice Monday, June 8th, because I think the NHL officially came out with their statement that Phase 2 starts Monday. Even though we all know guys have been skating in secret locations. Well, not even just in Sweden, but in the United States that have been undetected because they're athletes and they want to stay in shape. Yeah, exactly.
Undetected, air quotes. How are they managing to keep so secretive? Not using social media. I want to talk to Chris about the situation about Judd Brackett and Mike Gillis. What do you think about Mike Gillis in a hockey ops role, and
It's
Judd Brackett's possibly
it's
coming
not a
over to New
bad thing.
Jersey.
It can't hurt. Although I will say this: the job that the Devils have done, particularly in the last 3-4 seasons, as far as drafting prospects, has been much improved. You see it in Binghamton. You saw it especially this year, where they had, and it's a shame the season got cut off the way it did there. Binghamton was the worst team in the league the first 2 months of the season, and we all know the reason why, and we can't really sugarcoat this anymore. John Hines' system sucked.
Yeah, it did. It was terrible.
It absolutely did.
It was
Thank
not good.
Thank you. Honesty and
it's not
integrity
just
right there,
it wasn't
people.
just the
There
system,
you go.
because you had the decision making that compounded the flaws of the system in the first place, and you combined the two, and you just sat there. You wanted to bang your head against the wall, and then the fact that Binghamton played the exact same style, where you're waiting for the abandonment to come, and as soon as that occurred, they turned. And it was the team that I kind of expected from the start of the season. In a little bit of overdrive, to be honest. Gilsen won like 14 of his last 17 starts to end the season. He looked like the prospect that I saw over in Europe. Nathan Bastian, one of those players literally that has improved at every level that he's been in. And the funny part is about the Super Buddies, he's passed his buddy as far as development.
Yeah, he has.
I said this on All About the Jersey last month. I was like, look, people should have seen this coming. I mean, yes, Michael McLeod has a good bit of speed. He has a good bit of talent. Unfortunately, his style of play does not fit into what the Devils are doing. It really is like square peg meets round hole. And until he gets it in his head that he has to adapt at least more than half the game, this is how it's going to be for him, unfortunately. And he's not going to see the ice time that he probably should. And he's not going to get the results that he probably should. Now, late in the season, it did start to get a little better for him as far as scoring chances and such. But this pause won't help in the fact that there's going to be this immense rest. There's question marks there, too. We don't know when the AHL season is going to actually start. There's some talk that it could start a little while before the NHL even gets started, just because they don't want the AHL. They don't want AHL players to be resting for 10 to 11 months. That's at least the thought process.
Yeah, you can't have that.
That's overblown.
Do you think that? Do you think it would be like a November start time then for them, or do you think a normal start that they
I
would
tend to
normally
think
have?
that they're going to go as close to normal as they feasibly can at this point. The problem will be, well, when will the NHL season end? And that answer probably is right around sometime late, very, 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 very late September or early October, depending on how fast these playoffs go. I'm tending to think October, guys. The more I look at it, and it could be as late as October 12th or 15th that I've heard. So,
well, because I know because we know the NBA has said Game 7 of the NBA Finals will be October 12th. So if you think about it, best of 5 play-in, that's probably going to move pretty quickly. I could definitely see a sweep or two. You have to win 3 games. We've seen a ton of times teams have won 3 games in a series before, so that could move. But with 4 rounds being best of 7, similar to what we've always, exactly what we always have, I could definitely see it being dragged out.
It could. And it could also go a little shorter. It could be around October 1st. I kind of hope so in a way, for selfish reasons, obviously, because I want a little bit of a break before.
Right.
It's going to be a mess. the fly in
Yeah.
the ointment, and we hate to involve other sports here on the show, but you're going to have to inevitably. If you have college football, you have the
because
NFL.
you have college
Yeah, we don't
football.
know.
You have
We don't know when the
the
NFL
end
is
of
going to
baseball.
officially start. If they're going to start on time, or if they're going to wait a month.
I mean, all signs point to college football and the NFL starting on time.
Until I hear something otherwise, it's what I've been told to go with, and basically some ugh betting writers have basically said, "Hey Chris, you want to get prepared for it, just in case that it starts on time." Usually means, hey, it probably will start on time, barring something unforeseen.
Right.
Right, and I just want to see on the betting side of things. What do you think of the Devils being partnered with like MGM and Caesars? Due to the
I'm
fact
not
the owners
surprised.
have
I
ties
like
to
it
those
personally.
businesses.
I did use the William Hill betting. Oh yeah, I did. I made a
Sportsbook?
few dollars
I made a
during
few
the
bucks
season,
too.
including certain. Hey, it's the Devil's over. Look at that. We're gonna bet the crap out of this thing until it busts. It was like the Chicago over the year before. You bet the first period over. You just kept betting it and betting it and betting it. And it hit like 25 out of 29 games at one point. It's just a ridiculous number that you're never, I won't say never going to see again, because with scoring up, it's now more of a possibility again. But it was just the sheer absurdity of it. And then there was that one Devils Blackhawks game where you just could see it coming from a mile away. It's like, oh, there's going to just be scoring galore. And sure enough, obviously, mm-hmm.
That reminds me of not this season, but this past season when Sammy Vatanen and Kevin Rooney all scored goals in like a 7-5 Devils win over the Blackhawks. When what was it? What was his name? Cam Ward was in net for the Chicago Blackhawks.
The slightly mortal.
I knew there was going to be some magic.
There's no immortal, just very mortal.
Very mortal. He had the 1 year with Carolina, and even then, they probably shouldn't have won. But we digress. Speaking of, I know we mentioned Carolina's goaltending. Have you heard anything about the injuries, like from the game that David Ayers just came in and shut out the Maple Leafs? Has there I haven't really heard much from people I've talked to about the Carolina's goaltending, right? The guys are hurt still, right?
As there is some good news at least with this, if you're Carolina. Look, let's be honest. Is Peter Mrazek a world-beating goaltender? Every so often, he's a great backup, but
he's a great backup.
In the playoffs, he can catch fire like he almost did briefly for one fleeting moment or two. He's okay. As far as anyone knows, Mrazek will be ready for round one. That's not an issue, at all. So don't worry about that. He'll probably be the game one starter as well. I have to think. Now, James Reimer, on the other hand, as far as I know, now don't quote me on this, he should be able to go as well. I mean, there's enough time. You're not playing until the end of July, so do not worry too much about what you may hear. It's going to be very quiet though, at least until training.
Absolutely.
Because it really has been. I mean, it's funny. I started reading through some of the rumor sites just for the heck of it. Because I mean, look, I work in the
I think
market.
we
I
all
work
do.
with Mark Easton of my NHL trade rumors. I work with the certain mystery guy from NHL Rumors Daily. I've been on his
Yeah.
I've been on his show with Pat Fitzgerald a couple times. And like, and the first thing I always get is, that's the guy. That's that jerk that injures players. And it's like, great. Oh, it's just,
the injury
it just,
ninja. The
it
injury,
just lends
the
right
injury
in. It's like,
ninja.
oh, thanks. You know,
Injury ninja.
it's like, and the other thing I get, is it really true what they say about a certain Florida Panthers player that you may have like seen a skate explode on the ice? And I'm like, yep.
That makes me think of like, oh, I've seen a player's skate blade on the Devils or any other team just fall out, and you go like, you have to crawl yourself across the ice.
Yeah, this was
unless
just
you get help.
complete utter, like,
That's what
the
I think of
stitches came
exploding
out,
skate.
the skate blade, the the screws to where the skate blade is mounted. I mean, it all just came apart. I mean, it's just there's no words for pain there.
Oof.
That's a lot of pain. It's definitely
It's a NASCAR blowout.
I know I've been hearing and reading a little bit about potentially the 7 teams that are doing nothing right now.
Right.
Well, they can trade with each other and prepare for a draft that will happen sometime in October. I heard that come the fall, if the home cities are like better with all this, they might be able to play
They're going to
against
have
each
to
other.
do something. There's no way that they could go that many months without playing. You figure it could be what? Yeah,
11 months, 10, 11 months.
It's just
9.
Even
yeah,
then,
I
it's
mean,
just
9
it's
to
just,
11
it's
months
just
range.
It's an outrageous amount that borders on the ridiculous.
It needs to be like some sort of like preseason type of format, between rookies when the draft is done, or something else like, inter-team play, just to keep the guys fresh enough to get ready for the next season.
It's just something else. I mean, there's a lot of players too that are at least going to be, I don't know, healthy, which is good news for everybody involved. Actually, more like a mile-long list. We laugh about this, but it's really true. I mean, I started looking at this, and yes, indeed, Reimer will be ready to go for round 1. Leave it to me to find this right away. Thanks, Chip Alexander, for replying to me quickly. It's like, geez, 10 o'clock on a random June night where there's no hockey being played, and within not even 5 minutes, there you go. But I kind of thought he was. However, when I do this, and especially with the rumors and such, one of my concrete rules is this: I'd like to at least have 2 sources, bare minimum.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I agree 100%.
I've seen it. I don't know if you guys remember a certain Chicago player that had been rumored to be traded to the Devils about 5-6 years ago. There's a couple of these that happened around the deadline that fell through. Everybody remembers the Scott Gomez trade to San Jose that never happened. It was Gomez and 2 picks for Teemu Selanne.
Oof.
Yep.
Oh, I think I saw something on Fox and
Bottomed
Pitchforks
out.
about that one that
Somebody said
that didn't fall through.
Or because I had 2 guys on this, and I'll never forget it. In I think it was 13. Yeah, it was 13 at the trade deadline. I had 2 guys text me, Marty's out. He's traded to Minnesota.
What?
I was like, wait, what? I'm like, you serious? He's like, yeah, I got it twice. I was like, oh, okay. But then later on, it changed. I'm like, wait, what happened? He's like, Marty changed his mind.
It's true.
I was like, Oh, okay. Yeah, no, he was gone. He was to Minnesota.
Wow.
I know he was.
What was the return on
You're
that?
going. You're asking me to go back
that was
to
an odd
13
sort.
on
That was an
this.
odd sort of deal too, because at the time the Devils were really not sure if they should sign Marty after the season. This is whenever that they had acquired Schneider in the
That's when they made.
summer. There was a considerable amount of acrimony between the two goaltenders to the point
Right.
where allegedly one did not get on the team plane and was headed towards the Bahamas before cooler heads prevailed. Yeah, there was a lot of
Jeff Frazee.
There's a lot of stuff because I know everybody knows and feels that Schneider probably should have started the Stadium Series game, but because Brodeur was the guy, been there with the whole team, it was the Devils outdoor game. He needed to start, but it was like, wait a minute, he really isn't playing well. Why does he deserve this? Like it was just so much going on at that time, and like he was definitely gone, and I think he had a change of heart, and that's as far as I know. I know, Chris has just said the same, pretty much confirmed what I've heard and was told that day. But it was just so weird that day. It was really weird.
It just goes to show you like how crazy any sport can be, but particularly, hockey. It's got its. I mean, look, there's stories that we couldn't even sit there and print. It's like, well, wait, no, can't do it. Why not? Can't do it.
No.
And don't forget the J.G. Pajot trade that went through, but then there was the other trade that Lou Lamoriello didn't follow through on. I believe it was the Zach Parise trade, and that didn't go through because I believe, I think it was TSN or Sportsnet. They talked about it with one of their code breakers, and apparently later they were like, Lou Lamoriello terminated the
because
trade.
he realistically
So
did not think he could work out the parameters for it by 3 p.m. Just flat out, just didn't think he could do it. At first he thought he could, and then he just kind of said, no, it's not happening.
Yeah, Lou's always been up to things like that, but like thinking about GMs, what do you think about Tommy Fitzgerald going forward if he is the
I hope he
pick
is.
by
I've seen group enough to clearly form an opinion that at least has some, I wouldn't call it merit, but at least has enough information to go on to say if it's a yes or no. And with Fitzgerald, it's definitely more of a yes than anything. He's shown an ability to be adept at the trade deadline, just enough. He realizes what the team has and doesn't have. He knows the team's shortcomings better than most anybody. He's seen what's worked, i.e., the goaltending. Thankfully, when it's healthy, i.e., Mackenzie Blackwood.
Yeah, absolutely.
There's going to be always a concern.
I love his
Blackwood
play
and the inevitable lower region. It's always going to be. It's a part of life, guys. We're going to have to deal with it. I know the whole concussion. I'm not worried about the, puck. The guys. I'm not worried about him losing more teeth, but I always worry about.
I'm not worried about him losing more teeth.
It's the two worst things you worry about in a goalie: the hip and the groin. People have to remember that Mackenzie Blackwood did a lot of work in about a 12 to 15 month period to improve his ability to even be able to scramble off the ground. It was one of the biggest pet peeves that people had 2 years ago in development camp for him was excellent goalie, but if you got him down, forget it. I mean, you could score on him. You could score on him in your sleep.
Right. And speaking of goaltending, we always talk about Yaroslav Askarov. Another goaltender I've been looking at in this draft class, from, if I remember correctly, in the QMJHL, it's Samuel Hlavaj, the Slovak goaltender. I heard it's his second draft year. Do you think an extra year of preparation for a
It can't
goaltender like
hurt.
him
It
would
absolutely
benefit
can't
him
hurt.
greatly?
For goalies like that, it helps. It helps in a way that we don't always understand, and it's beyond saying goaltending is voodoo, because it's not. You either have it, you don't have it, or you're going to develop it eventually. And some players just fall into that third category, and he is one of them. It's going to take time, especially at each level he adjusts to will just take a little bit more time than maybe people have patience for. And I wouldn't worry too much about it. He's going to be just fine.
So, obviously, we talk about, Devils ownership. We feel that Tom Fitzgerald's going to be the general manager of the team, which is good because now they can put a direction and a sense of, all right, this is the way we're going. Too much last year of up and down. We didn't know what we're doing. Okay, are we a contender? Are we not? Oh, middle of the pack. What are we?
Middle of the pack.
When they make the decision because as of right now, Tommy is doing everything. He's interviewing coaches. Who do you see as obviously everybody likes certain guys, but who is your ideal coach for this team going forward?
This is really where it gets tough, because there's a lot of good points with these coaches and there's a lot of bad. Ricard Grönberg, no. And the only reason why no is because it just gets this sense that he's happy where he's at. And it's like, okay, fine. You don't want to come over. All right, let's stop playing, even talking to him at this point. After that, Peter Laviolette, this team's probably not at the level you would need New Jersey to be for him to be a good fit. You're really not at that point. There's too many structural flaws with this Devils team for Laviolette to come in and turn this team around. So, and yet they seem gravitated.
But it seems like Gallant,
which is strange.
Because Laviolette has a similar system to John
my
Hines,
concern,
which didn't work here in New Jersey.
There's some tweaks, but it is the same. It's the same basic system, and it didn't work in Nashville. And we saw kind of what happened with Hines in Nashville, where it worked and didn't. Now let me rephrase that. It actually worked in spite of him at times. It really did. It worked in spite of him.
Well, because they have
They do. They have
better players too,
by far and away.
Yeah, by far and away, absolutely.
You have Yossi on the back end. You have Ryan Ellis on the back end, and you really have Irwin and a couple other really good players.
Yeah, you have
that can
Forsberg,
really
you
put
have
the puck in the net, along
Arvidsson,
with Philip Forsberg.
Duchesne was just starting to come back a little bit before the season's pause. He had a really nice start, slumped for quite a while, and then the last few weeks started to look more like he was in October. But that partly was also because of how he was deployed too. Let's not talk. Oh God! And then Hines kind of compounded that, and that's where people draw the Hines the Laviolette comparisons, and it gets problematic.
Yeah.
And after that you get to Gerard Gallant. I mean, Gallant probably the best guy to coach this team at this point, because he's taken a team of misfits to the Stanley Cup final. And this Devils team is pretty dysfunctional. especially defensively. They really are.
It is.
There's no other way around it.
Yeah.
You're throwing a whole bunch of things together and you're hoping it somewhat survives.
Right. Yeah, definitely. I mean, they're just that defense is just so it's weak. I mean, it's going to get better eventually.
There is
a lot of promise
a lot
in the
of
pipeline.
good prospects in the pipeline for the Devils. I know the draft analyst has said this in the past. You know, this is a top 4 or 5 team prospect wise in the NHL without a legit number 1 prospect, which is very hard to do. They don't have like that guy in the system that you go, oh, okay, he's definitely playing next year. He's going to make a humongous impact. They have a bunch of guys that can make good to very good impacts. And that balance just lends you to believe, hey, Devils may be one or two very good players from maybe not this year, but maybe next year doing some damage.
And then speaking of prospects, I mean, they got one in the trade for Blake Coleman.
It's a project, though.
I mean,
it's a project because of A, the injuries, and B,
Foot's a good shot.
There's some. It's not his speed skating wise. It's his first several strides. Especially after getting caught flat-footed. That's been his biggest weakness. But that can be worked on. 21st century, that can be worked on.
Absolutely.
15, 20 years ago, that was a kiss of death.
And right, it's not a kiss of death these days because it's skill, power, smarts, sense, stick handling, just to name some skills off the bat that are necessary in today's game. I want to talk about those 1 or 2 players. You know, Ty Smith comes to mind. You have Riley Walsh, who may take a little bit longer. Who else do you see besides
there's a lot.
the couple of names that I just threw out there?
It's almost like spanning the globe, but literally, and this is good news for every Devils fan. Just we can actually say that, hey, there's players in the pipeline that look good, that actually are decent, that can play and put the puck in the back of the net. It's kind of a nice, it's a kind of a nice thing because for quite a while, I mean, look, the Devils draft bust after bust after bust after bust. I mean, 1 or 2 guys that hit pretty well, but you know, we did this, took a look and took a, you know, kicked the tires around a little bit. I'm interested to see how Tyce Thompson develops as he goes along at Providence. He caught absolute fire at the start of the year. I think he had something like 25 points in his first 17 games and 16 goals to boot. I mean, him and Patrick Moynihan were a nice 1-2 punch for Providence in the early going. Before Moynihan got a little bit banged up, and then Thompson cooled off a tiny bit, but he still averaged a good bit over a point a game for the season. So it wasn't like he cooled off immensely; he just cooled off a little bit. Aside from that, obviously we talked about Nolan Foote already. People have talked about Ty Smith and his rise extensively. I'm interested to see what a guy like Jesper Boquist does next year in a system that is not John Hines. Only because he looks so good in the second half for Bigotton, generating scoring chances and playing in the top 6. Then you get true wild card of wild cards.
What about
I'm looking forward to seeing what he does, especially in the next year or two. There is one guy that actually I'm a little bit more intrigued just because of the way he played in the MHL last year, and that had to be Gritsuk. Wow. I do not. I don't quite think people realize just how good of a two-way player he became in the last year. The NHL is not always known for that. They're a little bit more known for their scoring and sometimes occasionally physical play. But this guy has all the tools, and it's ridiculous to think that just teams just kept passing on him left, right, sideways. It should have never happened.
Do you think he's like this generation's version of Pavel Datsyuk, being that similarly late in the draft? Or is it because of his size and skill that some people overlooked and the Devils witnessed something?
When he was drafted, he was a shade under 160. And I think he was about 5'8.5" or 5'9". He's now 5'10". He's 5'10". He's put on a little bit more weight. Some people have him as high as 175 pounds now. I know he's listed at like 168 or so. But he is starting to put on more and more muscle. And the limited amount of time that I saw him the MHL, he looked flat out dominant. He really did, especially the last 30 games of the season, guys. He had 41 points. That included 21 goals. So he put it together. He had a nice balance, second
there
portion
we go.
of the season. Well, really it was the final 2/3 of the season, but people forget that it's not an 82 game schedule like it is over here. It's more like a 60 game schedule. So it was good for him because let's be honest.
That's a moderate.
This is a guy that in the prospect ranks had never played more than 36 games in a season. So the fact that A, he was able to stay healthy, and B, get even better as the season wore on. Oof. I'd be very shocked if he's not in the K next year. I'd be very shocked. See, that's what I'm trying.
Who would be his parent club for the KHL if he's able to get an out clause?
Last year, actually renamed because for the M. So his parent team would be indeed Avant-Garde Omsk. My brain had it's like, gee, wait a minute. No, yeah, that makes sense now. But yeah, he would play for them. I think he would do well for them. His skills lend well to the type of style that they play, and he did well on their. He did excellent in the under 17 team. It was ridiculous, just how good he was, and that's where people first noticed him, to be honest. But they were like, oh, he's too short. He's this. He's that, and no. This is a player that can play. I always thought he was a round 2 or round 3 guy at worst. And the fact that he went all the way in the 5th is still something that blows my mind.
Who would you think of him as if he was a past or present NHL player?
So it's tough because he
screams this
he has the
player.
ability to score a little more than a Datsyuk. But he doesn't quite have the shooting prowess of, say, a Kucherov, or Kucherov can just pepper a goalie and has moves galore. But he has a little bit of both players. There's a little bit of a blend. So if you took the two of them and you combined them together, he would be like a poor man's version of that. And that's not terrible. That's not bad at all.
That's not bad at all.
I can sit there and say I'm not going to complain. That's
very decent.
Tape of him just because, you're watching this guy that's probably 160, 165 soaking wet, plowing over guys that are 215, 220. That's impressive. Yes, I know it's the NHL. It's not even the K. I get that.
Oof.
Yes.
Yeah, but you're one. But you're
It's a step below, if
165
I'm correct.
soaking wet, plowing over guys that are almost twice your size.
This is something I do at work every day.
Like, come
but
on.
still, I mean, but this isn't on the ice, and this isn't that's never at full speed. I mean, he's doing this at full speed already. So you're figuring this is a guy that's not, going to be 20.
That's amazing.
That's it. So there's plenty of time. People have to be a little bit patient with it. And it's not because he's a European player. It's just he was brought through his system a little bit slower. That's all. It doesn't mean signs of panic. It doesn't mean say, hey, oh my God, oh, this guy's a bust already. Like half of the New Jersey media has said about Jack Hughes already.
I mean, don't get me started on this. Look, you everybody knows my opinion on this. Chris probably knows it from my Twitter account, and or maybe not. I don't know. I always said, because I know like guys over in Punch and Pitchforks is like always look at you now when he would always score a goal. I said I never said he couldn't play in the NHL. I just said he was too small and needed to put on his man weight. That's all I said. I never said this was a bad pick. I just said he was too small.
Yeah,
and he needed a year to develop.
You couldn't have him develop. I mean, it's unfortunate that there's no rule that says you can file a exception of sorts and have him play in the A, which would have been great AHL for him, which would have been good. I hope someday they do.
That should be something new that they implement.
Because it's the NHL, but you would think it'd be.
But
it would be nice.
A new option.
Some of the development disasters we've seen over the last 5 to 10 years along.
Like, look at the way Yakupov was rushed. I know he was a first overall pick, but you didn't need
to be
rush
honest,
him all the way.
He wasn't even a first overall pick.
That's true.
No, it's more like a 20th pick.
It's true, yeah. I mean, and then you can just look at the Devils themselves. Since 2000, by the way, if you go back, because when I was doing my Boom Bust series, I went back and the Devils' best last draft was the year 2000. Like, you can find a couple guys here and there, but all of them pretty much bad outside of a handful of guys. That's it. But even with the Devils, they're finally getting back to what made them successful. Drafting and developing.
It's been a while, guys.
So nice to see.
It really has been.
It's been a long time.
It's been a long time coming. And I do want to touch on some of the players that you're going to eventually give us for a mock draft right before the draft comes.
Right.
Now, give us a little bit of a spoiler of your first.
I've done this for a while. Obviously, everybody knows Lafreniere is going number one. He doesn't go number one. We're just throwing everything away. I have fun with these mock drafts just because, well, I have certain players that, well, let's just say, it'll cause a considerable amount of debate, just because it's like best player available versus what could happen. So here's where it gets fun. Obviously, I have Quentin Byfield at 2. I think he's a perfect fit for Ottawa. Ottawa absolutely needs a big playmaking center. Byfield is conservatively listed at 214. I call BS. He's probably 220 something. The guy is built like a bloody tank. the tank has upgrades. Yes, I get there's some issues with yada yada yada, again skating, blah 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 blah. He's a center. It's okay. If he's on the wings, that's a problem. If he's a center, you can live with it. You can there's things you can teach. They can afford to take Byfield at 2 because Ottawa probably will come back and take Stolze at 3. They like the way he plays. They've liked him for a long time. After that, it gets interesting. You basically have 5 guys that could go anywhere from 4 to 8 with these. So you have Alexander Holtz, Cole Perfetti, Lucas Raymond, Marco Rossi, who could be the steal of the draft. It just depends on what team he goes to. And then Jamie Drysdale, who's risen up quite a bit. Not as big as, say, an Emile Andre, but he's made a pretty mercurial rise through the rankings over the last 12 months. So after you have that, like sort of that traffic jam from 4 to 8, so the Devils could draft anybody from Holtz to Raymond to Rossi. I don't think at 6 they would take a Drysdale, because I think there'll be a slightly better player available at 6. I mean, Drysdale is very good. He's top 10 caliber. He's just not 6th, which is kind of rough to say. You're kind of hemming and hawing a little bit, but I think the Devils have somebody else in mind that they want to take even at 10. That's not Drysdale. It's one of those things where it's like, you kind of have to see how it all pans out. How many reaches and surprises there are from, say, 11 onward. Because the big coin flip is that would the Devils consider taking Askarov at 10? And I can't see it. I can't see it, guys.
You're not the only people that see it.
At this point, I do like some of the other goalie prospects out there. I know that some goaltenders from Russia have fallen a little bit back in the draft over the years, so you can possibly risk it a little bit later in the late first. But I think at 10, my pick would definitely be Jan Mysak, possibly.
It's funny because a lot of people are all over the place with him as well. It's a ton of arguments. It's like one way or the other with him. He could go anywhere from 10 to 30 something. I mean, this is a way deeper draft than the pundits are reporting. I mean, your true expert, or your guys that have been like entrenched into this draft, will point out that this probably is could be one of the best drafts since 2003. I mean, this is the one year where most of the
I
prospects
definitely can see
stayed
it.
healthy.
I can
a few
agree with
years
that.
ago, where everybody said, okay, this is it. It's going to be a really good draft, and then all the top guys started getting injured. This is not the case this year. Everyone has pretty much stayed healthy. A lot of players have stepped up in the second half, making decisions that much more complicated. And you have at least 50 to 70 guys that could easily make the NHL in 3 years or less.
Because last year's draft, only 2 first-round picks came out of that draft in 2019, being Jack Hughes and Capo Kakko. Although they didn't light the world on fire, they did establish some sort of points game and started to learn the game a little bit better than just being totally lost. Do you see this upcoming draft class versus next year?
I do.
Being
there's always some sort of
similar, but
correction
better
that
for
inevitably
defensemen?
occurs after a few seasons, and I think you're going to see that after this year in particular, just because of the offensive talent that is coming out from this draft. Usually there is a sort of balance, and I think you do see that for the 2021 draft. There will be offensive firepower. Don't worry. But I just see more of a shift towards the defensive side of things, especially after next season.
Yeah,
So this should be a precautionary tale for Devils
Right.
fans not to be mad if we don't pick a defenseman in this year's draft or just one, because they're probably saving that capital for the next upcoming draft in 2021. Do you also see goalies better next year in 2021, or do you think there's some undrafted free agents
honestly, I'd
that
wait a year.
the Devils could
I know
go
it's not
for?
a popular opinion necessarily, but if you could find somebody in free agency that you think is better than Corey Schneider at this point, and you can stomach buying him out, go for it. Don't hesitate though. That's the key. You can't just go slow about
you
this.
got to do it.
Tried
You
that
have to
last
pull
year,
the
and
trigger.
We saw how that worked. It didn't. Yeah.
It didn't work, and they can't do the same thing again. They
Yeah,
can't have the same
The
two
only way
guys
that
again.
they can is if
It's-
you can
you
guarantee
just can't
that
do
Corey
it.
Snyder is going to stay healthy, and as much as
Right.
you love the guy and his work ethic for coming back and looking great over the last portion of the season, can you get anything close to that at the beginning of the year where he could stay healthy? And that answer is an I don't know.
I know this sounds kind of bonkers. Jim and I talk about opening night being like the ending of the
It
season.
set the.
Pretty much.
I would more
felt
say
like
it set the tone for how the season was going to go. When you blow a 4-0 lead to the Winnipeg Jets, don't get me wrong, Winnipeg's a great team.
4-1.
You're up 4-0.
They're an excellent
after
team.
2 periods, or 4-1 after 2 periods. But you're up 4-0 midway through the second period. There's no
you
way
figured,
you lose
especially
it,
after
that
the
you
Blake
need to
Coleman
lose that
circus
game.
goal, you figured that game was over. You really did.
Yeah,
And it just had that look. And then
Yeah.
I think maybe it was Coleman again
But,
who almost scored to make it 5-0, and you're like, oh yeah, this thing's over. And then it wasn't. So I mean, yeah, that's tough.
It's just tough. I mean,
But-
there were a lot of things like, and people can blame John Hines and Shiro for not pulling the trigger sooner, because I personally do think if they pulled the trigger sooner when everybody was saying to pull the trigger in October, the Devils might have been one of the
missed by a few
24
points.
teams in this playoff.
They could have easily.
Just the decision making, and I don't think we'll have that problem with Fitzgerald, because his resume at the trade deadline, he did. Thought he did really well. We graded him as an A. Had other people on, A-. Everybody agreed pretty much.
A-.
That's a good grade for him, especially what he got for Andy Green. Didn't really think he was going to get that for him, but hey, you know what? It's a trade deadline. But the one thing I do like, and I don't know if you agree with this or not, but you mentioned the prospects over like the last 5 to 10 years we've seen everywhere.
Right.
They're put in positions not to succeed. And that's just my view of it and my opinion on it. Especially you can see it. Like Jack Hughes comes in. He's not supposed to be playing fourth line. You drafted him he drafted him first overall.
Or third line.
As a second line center. Put him with guys he can perform with. And we saw that with Boquist. When he was put in the top 6, he looked great.
He he fit in. He was able
He
to
was awesome.
skate and handle the pace.
He looked awesome, especially in
not
Winnipeg.
bogged down with guys like Rooney and Hayden. That's the reality of it. He was not bogged down. And these are guys that need to play with pace.
Yeah.
And if they don't play with pace, unfortunately, a guy like Bokus is still young enough where he doesn't necessarily handle it well, and it shows.
And do you think also the GM will also factor in the way that, you need to have fluidity all the time, on the top two, and then see where your third and fourth lines look and go from there with that blueprint? Do you think they'll be able to roll three lines if they get Gallant?
If he finds a way to do it efficiently enough, it won't be an issue. But this probably could very well be his biggest decision if he becomes coach of the Devils, is how he handles that bottom six.
Yeah, because they have guys that can. It's such a mishmash of like guys. Like, how do you turn can you have another, like, can you have a checking line? I mean, obviously Zajac is there. He's not going anywhere. He's a lifer. But you're down the middle is right now is Heeshear, Hughes, Zajac, and then throw somebody on a fourth line. But that's your top three centers right there. And now mix and match. Start mixing and matching guys and see who you're going to get in free agency too that'll come in and fit, because I know they have a need at left defense as well. It's just great. It's just just a mess there. That again, Shiro did his best to fix the mess Lou made towards the end. He had to deal with the misfit toys, and go through the garbage and weed out stuff, and you can see it because I believe 2 Devils prospects that I think it was Lou's draft or maybe it was Shiro's draft, are probably not signing.
Oh, Holscher and what's his name?
I'm blanking on the second guy.
I'm blanking on the second one.
Bernard. Yeah, he's long gone. I mean, it just wasn't going to work out.
Xavier Bernard. Well, can you explain to the fans or listeners
lack of progress
exactly their downfall?
It really does, and for both of them. People can say injuries, etc., but I mean, we didn't have Bernard mentioned last year in our Dobber Prospects reports, simply because he had fallen so far fantasy potential wise, and it basically just fell into irrelevance. And that's hard to do, guys, when you have a list of over 40 players. It really is. Just counting up real quick.
Wow.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 14, 15, 16, 17, 20, 21. Yeah, do a little more math. Yeah, it's just about almost 40 players, guys. Yeah, just completely gone. I mean,
wow, and you just fall out of irrelevant.
Wow.
Okay,
so how
for me
do you
personally,
calculate
I do it a little
fantasy
bit
points to the
most.
NHL points on the Dobber
I
prospect
try
ranking?
to hedge a little bit between what is their fantasy upside in the terms of offense, whereas their NHL certainty is literally, can they make an NHL roster in a couple years or less? A guy like Frederick Claesson, for example, is a player that never should see the light of day of an NHL roster. I get he was traded. They want to see what he could do. But this is just the type of guy that after a few games, every opposing coach that's worth a damn is going to figure out his shortcomings quick and be able to exploit them. It's just just that simple. Well, I mean, he's a perfect fit for
So
Binghamton, and he
it
played there
seems
before. Back when
Clayson's pretty much
Ottawa
gone at this
was
point.
there. So I wouldn't be shocked if he winds up just going down to Bingo at some point and at least playing out his contract potentially. But other than that, if he sees more than a few NHL games, then I'm worried. I'm very, very worried.
And speaking of the defense,
Mm-hmm.
Devils fans over the season, were banging their heads about the Taylor Hall trade, and I know I was banging my head a little bit, but when I watched, Kevin Ball highlights, and it seemed like when I was contributing for Pucks and Pitchforks at the time, I started analyzing him. I saw that 6'7". I saw that he could skate, and it made me think when I watched a YouTube segment of how Zdeno Chara was a young prospect from Slovakia who got drafted by the Islanders. And I was like, okay, we going somewhere. Now we just got to make sure this team harnesses him and channels it to NHL caliber. What do you
he's
see
he's
in
improving
Kevin
bit by
Ball
bit
that some people
at every
just
level.
don't
Much
see
like
the light of day?
much like a Nathan Bastian, he just finds a way to improve a little bit more at each level. Last year, for example, I mean, look, if it was an 82 game season, he was on pace for 48 points. That's not bad. I mean, 10 goals, 48 points. Now, granted,
It's
he
not
was
bad
on
at all.
pace for 120 plus penalty minutes. That's got to come down a little. That can come down a little bit. But
that can come down.
I started taking a little bit a look at his, what they call it, the Go PNHLE, or the Nhl Projection, and he's right on the cusp of basically a top four defenseman already. So he's right there. I mean, if you look at flat lines right just below it.
Okay.
But remember, that's something that takes into consideration mostly just points per game, league, age, and position. That doesn't take into account his defensive ability, which keeps improving.
Okay.
So if you take a look at the defensive ability, he's probably a top four guy in the next year or two. Is that in the NHL? No. That'd be a little bit longer, obviously. But if he were to go to the AHL, it would not take him long to rise to the ranks.
Which is good news for Devils fans because obviously, with Ty Smith coming along, which, I mean, many people thought he should have made the team this year.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't, and he didn't because of what happened the year before. Again, he wins all the awards. I mean, it would be shocking not to see him in the NHL, at least for start the year, right? Next year? I mean, whenever next season starts and training camp and all that stuff. But again, which throws off, which comes into question, okay, what about junior seasons and when are they going to start?
We don't know. There is
everything going to just be
no
realigned
right
again?
Now from anybody.
Yeah.
Because they don't know until the NHL knows. They just don't. And anybody who says that they have information on it, no, they don't. Yeah, it's inaccurate or premature. And we just have to wait. I mean, no, none of us in the media like
probably
to wait for
inaccurate.
anything. It's true. We're notoriously bad about this, and we know it. And we apologize humbly often on the air for it. But that's how we are. I mean, look, I've said it to people. It's like, okay. I got 3 stories that I'm sitting on that I've sat on for a couple weeks now. Do I want to report them? Yeah. Can I? No. How much trouble would I get into? I mean, I still remember sitting there. I could not report the Patrick Elias, David Clarkson garbage can incident because it involved me directly. I happened to walk in the day before Patrick Elias's birthday, which is also coincidentally my birthday as well. Nice birthday to share, by the way. And people forget that this was during the shortened season. This is when 2013, when the Devils started off so good. We're like 12-4 after 16 games, and David Clarkson was being nominated for sainthood. And then the freak Brodeur injury happened. We were all traveling to the game, 5:00 game, Winnipeg. Go figure. And there was a report that Brodeur had this freak injury and that he wouldn't be playing, and the season went completely south after that. Now, the thing is this, and I say this often: be aware of this sort of this sort of thing. As we go forward, because you never really do. You never know. You just never do.
Right.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, you couldn't make this up. I mean, people thought that Brodeur
There's all these fun
exactly.
things that just happened behind the scenes.
There were so many crazy stories that it's like, nope, he had an injury. He had a fine motor non-contact injury, and it was that simple. And
Well, what was it? Oh, yeah. Somebody told me a story about 96. One of the guys I trained with did his internship with the Devils. You might have heard about this.
Right.
There was, obviously the guys, you see the locker rooms, you go in. What was the one thing the Devils players like back then like to do? Like to play ping pong. That ping pong table was quickly removed after somebody got hurt going down the stretch at the end of the regular season. Where the Devils could have made the playoffs.
People just forget about these stories, and it's like, well, you're probably better off forgetting about them to a point because, that still was the nightmare of all nightmare
exactly.
Season. I remember sitting there legitimately, that and obviously 2013. But 96, I turned 21. My brother and I are celebrating the fact that it's like, hey, it's like a friend of ours' wedding. You're turning 21. You can drink. Stefan Richer is not gonna steal your beer. True story. It actually happened. He stole my beer. Yes. If anybody remembers the old...
Come on, Stefan. What are you doing, man?
At Mayfair Farms in West Orange.
Come on, Richer.
It did not matter how old you were. If you looked somewhat close to 21, you were drinking.
I got to look this up.
And the players would serve you. They didn't care.
Oh, yeah.
They're not checking ID. I mean, you really think they were going to check ID?
They didn't give a shit.
Half of them were just as crocked. So, it's just how it was back then. And now, of course, you then fast forward to 2013 and the flying garbage cans. After an April 12th Devils loss, people forget the next day was the relief, the charity relief game for Hurricane Sandy, which happened to be again on, well, what do you know, my birthday, which is also Elias's birthday.
I remember there was a charity.
I go in to interview a completely different player other than Elias. or Clarkson for that matter.
Well, that was down in
No, this is the actual game in New Jersey
AC.
with
That was
like
the AC
Garin
game,
and like
right?
half of
AC?
the old Russian players. Yep. And
Oh yeah, I
all
was
of a
there for
sudden,
that game. Yeah. I was there for
hear
that. Yep.
just a series of expletives in Czech, and I immediately know it's Elias. And then I see this garbage can fly over my head, and I'm thinking to myself, "Oh, this is how it ends, huh? You're gonna die at the hands of one of your favorite hockey players." Well, it's not a bad way to go. Not bad.
No.
Elias threw like 30 feet across the room. And I don't think it was empty either. I remember it having
So
a
wait,
good bit of
who
stuff
threw
in
that
it. So
can?
it wasn't like it was just a little like 10-pound can. I mean, this probably was a good 25, 30 pounds. And he just hurled it. And I mean, it came probably within 6 inches of me. I walk in and I look and I'm like,
Oof.
is it safe? And he's like, oh shit.
Poor.
I'm sorry. I'm really sorry, Chris. I did not see you. And I'm like, it's okay. And he's like, are you all right? And I'm like, a little shaken. I'm not gonna lie. You don't get fully weighted garbage cans thrown at you on a daily basis.
No.
Mm-hmm.
No, it's funny. So, like, going back to the misinformation thing, like you were talking about, it was funny because it reminds me of a story. Actually, it was probably a couple weeks ago. So, there's a guy, Clay Travis, works for Outkick the coverage, right? And they do mostly football, baseball, basketball stuff. Then all of a sudden, I see this story pop on my timeline from Outkick, so and so reporting that hockey will be back July 6th, and I start reading it. I'm like, source says July 6th. I'm like, who is this source and who is he talking to? So I started talking to people I know. It's like, no one's ever set a date. Everybody knows it's the end of July because we're not even in phase 2 yet. I'm like, and so I emailed the guy. I was like, dude, and I tweeted out, I'm like, buddy, you do realize that the NHL has never come out with a date yet, and anybody in the hockey world knows it's not going to be early July. Like, can you not spread false information here? Because it's not true. If
Training
anything,
camp would start
it's
July 6th.
mid to late July. It's not even close to early July. Yeah. And right now they're putting training camps
and that's fine because
July
July
10th,
10th,
the earliest.
2 to 3 weeks. Okay, end of July, maybe first week of August.
Personally, I think they need to be the first ones to go before the NBA.
Keyword should.
They should.
Well, they should
be the first ones to go because you have that Olympic window in there that NBC needs to fill.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And they want to keep that escrow down.
It's a unique
Dennis
time in that
Bernstein
sense
said
because obviously
they need to keep it down 35% from the escrow.
You have time to fill. You have a possibility that the MLB may never get off the ground this year.
You could put it on the main network, which I'm putting to not returning, but that's okay. I mean, look, I'm a baseball fan, but you know what? They're doing it to themselves. So, like hockey did it to themselves in 04-05. But we needed major changes. That's fine. But,
yeah,
get with it, Major League Baseball. Yeah.
They're falling behind. But hockey's actually getting ahead of the game, but the NBA did, get a little bit ahead of the game as well. So, Bettman and Silver are all trying to, get a foothold or skate hold of this whole COVID-19 situation. But hearing phase 2 from the NHL is a great start.
Do you want to be first necessarily?
But it's not
especially if something goes wrong.
Most wonderful news, but it's good news.
No, you don't want to be first in that aspect, but you want to be first
you do?
For TV. I mean, just looking at it, well, because we know what Max Kellerman said yesterday. Nobody watches hockey in America. No one cares about hockey in America. And, look, I told people yesterday, I said, that's his job. He makes hot takes. You're falling into the trap. Even Barstool put it up. They're like, dude, just, don't worry about what he says. But in hockey's case, it would be good for them because they feel like they are, at least to, if you, obviously I'm a hockey fan. We're all hockey fans. We all love hockey. We can put it over a lot of sports. But if you were looking from the outside, say, maybe them getting out before the NBA can maybe finally put them in equal footing or not be treated as a second-class citizen anymore.
And this would be a big step. Just because you'd be able to sneak it in. You got the perfect window. If God forbid, the NFL does decide to delay things by a month, that's even better. College football, who knows? What
you're not going up against them
as far as quality of play. We don't really know. And plus, the first month is usually, in most cases, not garbage, but it's substandard.
I mean,
especially the first few. This was the first couple weeks.
Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. It really isn't. Mm-hmm. Well, it matters, but usually the first week of games is blowout city. From what my understanding is about the college football aspect is this season. From different people, if you talk to one of my friends is a fan of Rutgers, they say they're going to play 12 games this year.
My uncle's a season ticket holder too.
So 12 games. Okay, that's lofty. Realistically, I can see 10, 9 all conference with 1 regional out of conference game where you're bussing. That isn't bad. And the season starts later, I'm okay with it. But again, the big factor is, how everything's going to play out. And like you said,
hey, at least
we don't know.
At least we're a few steps closer to actually playing.
Exactly. We are. And that's a good thing because I think people are just ready for some sports and ready for just to get back on the ice, back on the court, just talk about just have some fun again. And, I put up one of the guys that does with my nightcap recap, Sports Interaction. They put out some lines for early for betting. I don't know if any of the places you're working with have put out any future early lines yet for playoffs.
There's definitely been NHL. A few. Boston's your early favorite by a smidge, not by much. Because of Tampa Bay's run right before the pause, they almost caught Boston. So they're pretty much right next to each other. And then after that goes down. They're right around about where Dallas is.
What about Pittsburgh?
Their worst spread was plus 1,400. So along with Dallas.
So do you think you're going to hedge the ones that are the least popular ones and see if any of those
Dallas,
make any
if
big
Dallas
ones?
Can stay as low as plus 1,700. I'm running it. I don't think it's going to happen. I think somebody's going to come to their senses, and eventually the books are going to correct themselves. Because you look and it's like, okay, Philly is plus 13, 500 right now. And it's like, yeah, I know they've been pretty good, but it's reputation, and you don't want reputation to play too much into it, but it kind of does with them until they actually do it. It's kind of like with Washington, until they actually do it, they're always going to think it. Yeah.
They can do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they're still a force.
I know. They still are. Like I was posting last night, like some of the numbers for guys, like if they were due like after qualifying round. I know I seen like McDavid and Draisaitl be points leaders just after qualifying round. I was telling people, I was like, a sneaky good pick here is like Crosby plus 1,400 or like Panarin plus 1,200. I could just like see it, like one of those guys do it, or pick somebody else.
I'm gonna go on the record. Crosby's he's gonna do his postseason wonders, and that 1,400 would be worth something.
Or would you take a Pettersson at plus 25? Like, Vancouver, I could
see it.
I mean, it's a sneaky good play. Good play.
Yeah.
Do I have the balls to do it? I don't know.
I think that's why I go with the good old 1,200 on Crosby, just betting $1. But I'm not just saying I'm going to do it. You just never know. Sometimes these sports books, it could be very lucrative if one person bets $1 on each player.
And you got a lot of time to consider between now and then. Like, do you pull the trigger on the number now, or do you risk it and wait a little bit? Yeah, at this point, it's too many weeks.
I prefer waiting at this point. And you never know who re-injures by watching too much Netflix.
Or eating too many pancakes.
That too.
Too many pancakes is a bad thing.
Not unless if you take out the amount of water and you swap that amount of water for seltzer. And Bud Light seltzer would be a good one. But it's vintage. Vintage seltzer is the one I use for my pancakes. Makes it fluffy.
Still freaking hungry. That's
hopefully you had your dinner.
This guy. I mean, I ate pretty good tonight, and I'm still hungry. That's good.
Peanut butter sauce.
Yeah.
Ooh, interesting combo. But yeah, no, it's gonna be interesting, definitely, with the next coming weeks and days and months, and it's just glad to have some sports.
Yes.
In some
way or another. I know the Spittin' Chicklets did the Spittin' Chicklets EA 20 Cup, and it's still going on. And it's on Twitch.
So.
But we're going to have to do Twitch sometime.
It's not. You got time. You got a lot of time. It's not that bad.
We'll figure it out. We got time. We got time. We got time. Don't worry about it, Joe. We got some time. Do. We still got time.
I know.
All right? It's not like we're over this thing yet. So I mean, we're still stuck inside. Well, not really, but we are.
I'm on my porch.
Yeah. So we're good.
We're good.
So,
we're good in the neighborhood.
Exactly. But I want to thank Chris for coming on tonight. I know he reached out to me early in the week. He's like, "Yo, when am I coming on?" So I was like, "All right, let's make it happen."
I said yes.
Thursday night. It was a good time talking some hockey, reliving some old stories, and
it's not a problem.
Just getting back talking about the game that we all love.
And answer some questions, reminisce a little bit. and get ready for the season. It basically would be us sitting here about, say, like August or so, getting ready for the season starting in October. So now it's just like we're just resuming.
Exactly.
We're just resuming. We're talking about who can win, who's gonna knock out who. We're talk about playoffs and bringing the conversation full circle. How about Cam Atkinson? Taking shots at Columbus. It wouldn't shock me if Columbus pulled the upset.
If there's one coach that could absolutely infuriate
He's a great scorer.
an opponent,
I wouldn't be.
It's John Tortorella. And I think they could drive Toronto absolutely crazy, especially against a guy. It's his first kick at the playoffs. Tortorella's been there many times before. You really better come out hot, because if they don't, it's gonna be exactly what happened with Columbus and Tampa last year.
Yeah. It will be, and it won't be fun to watch. And if you're going by March Madness statistics, now that we have playing rounds, don't be surprised to see a 12 beat a 5. I'm just going to leave it at that. We're going to leave
it the numbers game at that. And, I mean, we got so many days to count down until Phase 2 starts. And maybe Phase 3 will come a little bit quicker.
Hopefully.
Fingers crossed.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Chris, so much. The only thing we can do on this podcast is wrap it up properly.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll try to do that, because I thought I did a pretty good wrap, but then we talked a little bit more. So, but thank you again, everybody, for tuning in. We'll have everything up later on. Chris, thanks for coming on, and guys, just enjoy your weekend, enjoy your night, and looking forward to some hockey come July.